you don't factor in your Enneagram type, then you risk falling back into the bad habits that stopped you from going after your goals in the first place. That's why in this video, we're gonna cover the productivity tips that are gonna skyrocket your life to the next level using the core motivations of your Enneagram number. But if you don't know your Enneagram number, don't worry, I've linked my free typing guide in the description down below. So, starting with Enneagram 9s who long to maintain connection with others. As a former theater kid, I like to say that you're like the stage manager of life. You know, you're behind the scenes, supporting the cast, making sure that the whole production runs smoothly. But to do this, you sacrifice your own needs to keep the play moving along. What this can look like is procrastination or just plain like not even acknowledging that there are things in life that you want. But people hear this and make a huge assumption. 9s are lazy, when nothing could be further from the truth, because it's not laziness, it's falling asleep to yourself and putting other people ahead of you. Which is why you make such a great mediator and diplomat. You have this like crazy ability to put yourself into other people's shoes. But this can interrupt your workflow if someone else needs help and support. Their needs are always going to seem bigger and more important than yours. The good news is you can actually use these qualities to be more productive, because you're at your best when your actions benefit the team. So it doesn't make any sense to work alone. See if you can gather a group of people to co-work with so you can still stay connected and work towards your goals. Another way you can use your gift for connection is by getting accountability. That way, if you have trouble making decisions or you need help actually prioritizing what the most important thing is for you to do, you can lean on that person to help you figure it out. But if it's just not possible to work alongside others, make it virtual or get yourself a little office buddy like mine. This is Lemon. He's 1 year old. He is the best little work buddy. When you're sad, he'll sit on your lap. Highly recommend for 9s and also just all Enneagram numbers to get a dog and have them work with you. Or a cat, if you're a cat person. He's just the perfect little companion. Next is Enneagram 8s who are motivated by the desire to protect themselves and the people that they love. This translates into a passionate approach to life, and one of my favorite real-life examples of Enneagram 8s is Amy Poehler. Not only is she an extremely hard worker in her career, but she also dedicates her time to empower using her organization, Smart Girls. But a problem that Amy and other Enneagram 8s might run into is letting your intensity dictate everything, which can lead to some extreme behaviors like all or nothing thinking or never resting, like ever. But there's a solution to this that will not only make you more productive, but it will help you get things done with much less stress. Because you inherently have all of the personality traits of a leader. You thrive when you're leading a team into positive directions. So lean into your innate skills by recognizing the value that others bring to the table. Even if it might feel like it, you're not the only one who can do that thing. By releasing the need to do every single thing, you're giving yourself the gift of space and time to focus on the tasks that really matter. Plus, your superpower is lifting other people up. So delegating might even be an opportunity to let someone else shine if you are brave enough to give up the reins. Then there's Enneagram 7s who long to live life to the fullest, experiencing all the things that the world has to offer. But this life-loving trait of yours can backfire, especially if you want to be productive. Because you can commit yourself to too much, jumping from project to project without actually ever finishing anything. One reason for this is also a huge strength of yours, futuristic thinking, which, if you're into StrengthsFinder, like I am, means that you're inspired by the future and of what could be. But this can also be a weakness if you never stop to think about what's going on right now. When you find yourself getting swept up into what's next, set up a daily practice of meditation. This will help you center yourself before you begin your day or before you go to bed. But there's something else that can stop you from getting things done, and it's all tied to your biggest fear. It's why the absolute worst thing you can do to a 7 is stick them in a boring cubicle and tell them they have to do the same thing day after day after day. So the best way to nurture your soul is to avoid repetition. Change up your work environment. Challenge yourself to use a different time management tool. Or wear an outfit that's totally out of your comfort zone. Whatever that looks like for you, try your best to avoid feeling trapped and deprived as you go after your goals. Next is Enneagram 6s who desire to maintain a foundation of safety and security. You do this by looking for confidence in all your decisions, and you can either look for that in yourself or in other people. So when doubt gets in the way, your productivity just plummets. Which is why it's so important for 6s to trust themselves, but I know it's easier said than done. You might be distracting yourself with busy work instead of taking the time to ask like, hey, why does my self-doubt make me so uncomfortable? One solution is just to let yourself feel that. Let yourself feel uncomfortable, marinate in that. As any negative self-talk comes up, just say, hey, I see you. You can leave now. You can also remind yourself of the times when you did trust yourself and it worked out. Or if it didn't, notice that you're still alive and the world is still spinning despite it. Just like any relationship, quality time is the best way to establish trust. That way you're setting yourself up for a predictable routine of self-reflection, which is another thing that helps 6s thrive, routine. If you can figure out systems that support your habits, calendar, and work week, you're gonna be unstoppable as you go after what you want, which is always the goal when a new year comes around. For me, I really wanna focus on nourishing my soul, so I made a resolution to journal every night, even if I'm super tired and I really don't wanna do it. To be honest, I have trouble doing self-reflection of any kind because it takes away from my productivity. But the truth is, and I know this is true, but I don't know why I still don't do it, it makes me a healthier person, which is something that I figured out with my therapist. That relationship has been so essential in my self-development journey, and it's the reason why I'm partnering with the sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. Therapy can be intimidating, but they make it easy for you by having therapy sessions as a phone call, video chat, or even messaging. It's literally whatever's the most comfortable version for you. The best part is they're offering 10% off your first month of therapy using the link in my description. BetterHelp can match you to one of 30,000 therapists in their network based on your needs, location, and preferences. This gives you access to a wider range of expertise than might be available in your city. But if you're worried about wasting valuable productivity time trying a new service, it honestly couldn't be simpler. To get started, you fill out a questionnaire that asks you questions about what challenges you're going through and what kind of therapist you'd like. Then you'll be matched with a therapist in most cases in 48 hours. But I know that some people's biggest fear is having to break up with your therapist if it's not a good fit. With BetterHelp, you can just click a button and switch therapists at no additional cost. Join over 4 million people who've used BetterHelp to start living a happier, healthier life. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/AbbeyHowe. Not only does clicking the link help support this channel, but it also gets you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp so you can connect with a therapist and see if it's a good fit for you. Even if you might feel uncomfortable about making a change in your life, the truth is that this is a vital part in every Enneagram Type's growth journey. Take Enneagram 5s who are motivated by the desire to gain knowledge and be self-sufficient. But a trap that Enneagram 5s can fall into is spending all their time researching. For example, say your goal was to learn how to swim. You watch YouTube videos of Michael Phelps, you read books about swimming, and you test the pH levels in the water. But now you've used up all your energy and you don't actually feel the need to jump in the pool and practice. But I'm not saying this investigator part of you is bad. In fact, when the task requires you to become an expert, you're miles ahead of everybody else. However, the challenge is like President Eisenhower said, good planning without good working is nothing. A productivity hack for you is to set strict deadlines with yourself. I have to have learned the backstroke by Tuesday. And setting into place structures to help you get there. Like, I have 1 hour to read about the backstroke and then I have 1 hour to practice it. If you're really struggling with the doing, then get a swim teacher. Then you're accountable to showing up and working towards your goal. Next, let's talk about Enneagram 4s. You're motivated by the need to have a significant identity. For example, I want to leave my mark on the world, so I'm going to do that by writing a beautiful fantasy novel or making meaningful music. But the problem 4s run into is getting stuck in the dreaming phase. Sure, productivity is easy when you're motivated, but when those positive feelings slip away, 4s struggle with maintaining the habits that will get them towards their goals. I get it. Things like habits and pushing through aren't very romantic, and in the moment, it doesn't feel good. But the truth is, you're going to need a dose of the mundane to bring your dreams to life. Something that can help you do this is tapping into one of your strengths. 4s are incredibly visual people and they appreciate the beauty in the world. So if you can create something that visually monitors your progress towards a goal, that's gonna help you maintain momentum. But there's one more trap that can hold you back from being your most productive, and it relates back to your core weakness, envy. If you give into comparison of how other people are accomplishing their goals or what they've already accomplished, you're just going to make yourself feel fundamentally flawed. When the reality is someone else's success is not a threat to yours, which is also important for Enneagram 3s to remember, because their core desire is to appear and be successful. So comparing yourself to others is not only unproductive, but it's just gonna make you feel bad. This is why, even though I think it's important for every type to practice mindfulness, it's especially vital for 3s. As a 3 myself, I can attest that I would so much rather write a script or answer an email than spend 10 minutes praying. To be honest, a lot of 3s don't really need help being productive. The struggle lies in the mindset behind it. Because a lot of times, and I'm speaking from experience here, you equate your worth with what you check off your to-do list. So find ways to affirm that you are not what you do. You are worthy of love just for being there, doing nothing. But I know that's easier said than done, which is why it's a game changer to involve your loved ones in this task. There's nothing more comforting to me than when my husband tells me that he loves me for me and not for what I accomplish. Now let's explore Enneagram 2s. They are motivated by a need to be loved and wanted. 2s will literally drop everything to help someone else. But while this seems virtuous on paper, it's actually coming from a place of fear. That if you don't make yourself constantly available to others, then nobody's gonna want you around. So oftentimes 2s find themselves setting aside their own projects to help others, which is why it's so important for 2s to set boundaries with their time. If you need 45 minutes to finish a task, make that time sacred. Turn your phone to do not disturb. Tell your family not to bother you. If this sounds selfish to you, I want you to examine that. Is it selfish to be fulfilled in what you want in life? Or is it selfish to always have this simmering resentment under the surface because you feel like no one else cares about you getting the things that you want? The truth is, when you nourish yourself, you're better able to take care of other people. Now, for Enneagram 1s, they don't have as big a problem with setting goals and getting things done, because they're highly motivated by the need to improve themselves and the world around them. But where they do run into trouble is feeling like they can't accomplish something perfectly. Some 1s struggle with procrastination for just that reason, which is why I recommend this advice for perfectionists. It's not my idea, I read it somewhere and I thought it was going to be really helpful for type 1s. When you finish a task, but you still see a lot of flaws in it, counter those flaws with an affirmation. Then set the task aside and move on. A lot of 1s will hear this and be like, you don't know my inner critic. Like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to set something aside that isn't perfect. But that voice inside you is actually the one who's wrong, because it's freaking mean to you. And I don't know about you, but when I'm beating myself up inside, it's hard to feel good about anything I create. But once you have your tips and tricks for being your most productive, you still need to know if you're making the right goals for your Enneagram type, goals that work with your type and not against it, which is what we explore in this next video.